Hello my friends and welcome. My name is Dennis and as you probably know I'm Boeing 737 captain, and today it's gonna be the first video of me answering your questions. So questions and answers, answers and questions. So this video is promising to be very interesting. Stay tuned. I'm planning to film this kind of videos on regular basis, so at least 2 times per month. And if you have some questions to ask me, you may write your question in the bottom of this video, in the comment section just below, and I will search for it and I will try to answer. By the way, the more likes your questions will have, the highest chances it has to appear into this kind of video. So write your questions and also put likes to other questions of other users. And let's go to the first question. Pam pam. Alright, Malik Bugra Bildik asks me, have you ever experienced an emergency situation like engine failure, bird strike, etc. in Boeing 737? Well, emergency situation like engine failure, I would agree, but as for bird strike, it is not the emergency situation. It may lead to emergency situation like it was in Sully, you know, the movie Sully. We all watched this movie and we know the real events behind it, the miracle in Hudson, etc. So it may lead to emergency situations. Well, I haven't experienced the severe bird strikes. I had the numerous bird strikes, but it's not always the damage. It's not always the damage to your airplane. Sometimes you hit the small birds. Well, it depends on the bird size and where it will hit your airplane. Well, I had a case on Boeing 737, and I got the bird in forward in the compartment door, and I had the dent there, so I put in FML and the technical staff they just solved this problem. But as for engine failure, I have never experienced it. I had more than 6,500 hours behind my back, but I have never experienced any kind of engine failure or any engine surge or stall. So that means probably that airplane engines are very, very reliable, I think. Once I had to declare the pan, so I called the pan because I had 2 sick passengers on board, and it was during the descent, so almost during the top, before the top of descent, so nothing special happened. We call for the doctors, they provide the emergency assistance to our passengers, they reanimate them, they took them to the hospitals, and that's all. So that's about the emergency cases. The second question asked by Lucifer. Wow, I'm already scared. Lucifer asks the question. More aviation mathematics on a green chalkboard. Example, the turn radius of the airplane under various conditions. Well, okay, I will do it. The thing that I changed my apartments, my friends. I moved to the smaller apartments, and that is why I'm not able to put my board over here to describe you everything, but I'll try to do it. Maybe today I'll put it here just to film the video. I have it in my garage and I have all this stuff, you know, randomly put it in my garage. And yeah, I should do the chalkboard, as you said, green chalkboard videos, because I really like it. And about the radius, well, it all depends on your bank angle and your speed, that's all. I will write the formula for you, then I'll film some kind of video on a chalkboard. It is coming soon. Question number 3, Mojo asks me, then Corona doesn't affect the flight plans and you and plenty of starts, landings. Did you ever feel bored in landing on normal conditions, clear view, no wind, no rain? Do pilots like to get a bit more special conditions like hard crosswinds, fog, rain, because it's more challenging and maybe kind of fun? Stay safe and keep up great work. Thank you, Mojo, for that question. Well, I would like to land in normal conditions, okay, when you have cavalcade, no wind, because why should you feel this kind of level, a little bit level of anxiety, then you have to fight with crosswind, with poor visibility? Well, we train to land in those conditions, I mean bad weather conditions, until some of the limit. Well, the maximum crosswind limitation for Boeing 737, for example, with winglets is 33 knots. The minimum visibility for you to land to make the automatic landing for Boeing 737, not the visibility but runway visual range (RVR) is not less than 200 meters, and decision height is not less than 50 feet. So why would you challenge yourself? Well, we'll always try to minimize these risks because we are flying not alone. We fly with the passengers, with cargo, with everything. It's not my private plane. Okay, I'll land with the maximum crosswind. I'll try it. No, we want to minimize those risks. And if you have, for example, two runways, for one runway the crosswind will be 15 knots, let's say 15 knots, and for others will be 17 knots. I would probably ask if air traffic control would suggest me which runway, will ask me which runway would I like. I would of course take the runway with the minimum crosswind. For me it's less challenging and also more safe for passengers. By the way, most of the hard landings, tail strikes, they all happen in normal conditions because you just relax as a pilot. Okay, the weather is fine, no wind, clear skies, and finally, boom! What happened? Had a hard landing. I was too relaxed. I'll never relax even in normal conditions because something may happen that you are not waiting for. Question number 4. Saham Malik asks me, very interesting, I'm waiting for this video. Yeah, thank you very much. My question, what is your first language? Well, my first language is Russian because I'm from the south of Ukraine, from Crimea, and mostly people speak Russian there. And let's move to the other question. By the way, I know Russian and Ukrainian and some of the English, as you see, on a very low level. Let's move to the other question. Christopher Girbau asks me, is light color blindness and aviation possible? Depends on what you want to do. As a pilot, I don't think so because we pass the color blindness test for our medical examination, for your initial check, and also you have to pass it in some years. It's better to ask the doctor for sure, but I think that at least here in Ukraine, I think 99% sure that if you want to be a commercial pilot, the color blindness is not acceptable, as far as I know. Okay, next. Pilot Sam004 asks me, oh, he asked so many questions, I think 4 questions. Well, anyway, I have a lot of time, so I may reply. If you would be a pilot for another aircraft, what would it be? I like the place where I am now, my friends. I was employed in UTR Ukraine Airlines. First I used to fly the ATR, then I was flying in Garuda Indonesia. Well, probably if I would be the Indonesian, I'll fly ATR or maybe Boeing 737 in Garuda Indonesia Airlines. Very nice job, I would like to fly it. But what I have here is absolutely fantastic. I have, mentor pilot, absolutely fantastic call. I have family here. I live just 15 minutes away from my airport. I fly somewhere. I come to my house every day almost. We have some of the overnight stays, but not more than 2 days. So I see my family. I see my child growing. And it's fantastic, my friends, to be close to your family, to fly not far away. And I really like Boeing 737, so I would not like to change for another airplane. Maybe I would like to try, maybe I would like it more. For now, I like Boeing 737. Maybe I would like the Airbus 320 in the same way. Well, what you also asked, what is your most favorite airport? Borispol, because it's near to my house. So 15 minutes away, Borispol, very simple airport, equipped with category 3A automatic approach, so you don't worry a lot about the weather situations here. So you may land with low visibility during these foggy seasons. So I like this airport, nice runways, nice everything. I like this airport. What is the most dangerous airport you have flown into? Dangerous airport. Probably then I was flying my my base training in Kirovograd Flight Academy. The runway there is just 1,300 meters long, and it's within the limits for Antonov 26 that we were flying there. So for very short runway for that airplane. And yes, it was challenging. Then you start flying. It was my first twin-engine airplane, quite big, Antonov 26, and we were flying to very short runway for that airplane type. What airlines do you think need serious help due to COVID-19? I think classic type of the airlines, like our airline is more classic. I think low-cost airlines, they don't need such large help compared to classic airlines, because they are flexible. They may lay off some of the pilots, they may take them once again, they will be okay. They have different routes, different bases. They may close one base, open the other base in just 1 week. So they don't care about many of the stuff. But for example, our airline, they care about their staff, and they invest a lot of money for our preparation, for everything. We have unions, so that is why it's very hard for them to lay off some of the personnel, and that is why they need to support us, not only us but also the airplanes. And maybe British Airways or something, they don't need a lot of money because they have lots of money. They say that they will continue fly like normally, then the COVID crisis is over. But I think low costs will develop more after the crisis. Pam pam. Okay, the next one. Dennis Oi4. Dennis, hello from Dennis. Hi, just started flying gliders. Did you ever fly them? And how much do you think it will help you in commercial pilot training? Yes, I flew gliders. It was a long time ago, but sometimes I fly them once or twice per year because I like it. And I flew Blanik 13, it's Checkmate glider. It has the same controls, for example, as Boeing 737. It has the control stick. Well, Boeing has the control yoke, but it has control stick, but it has also flaps, spoilers, landing gear. You can extend, retract the landing gear, flaps, everything basically, except of engine. So you may do the same stuff as on airplane, and it's good for energy management. You'll understand the energy management more. For example, how to convert your altitude into the airspeed, so your potential energy into kinetic energy, how to perform the visual approach maneuver, how to land your airplane glider. Well, it's basic. It can give you the basic skills of flying, and I don't see anything wrong with it. So if you like flying gliders, just fly them. I know lots of commercial pilots who fly also gliders. Sam Raj asks me, Sir, from A to Z, there are hundreds of abbreviations of weather such METAR, TAV, etc. As a pilot, you need to know all of the abbreviations, or you can omit some. Love your videos. Thank you for loving my videos. And no, you don't need to know all the abbreviations, and some of the abbreviations you use every time you fly. For example, it's for METAR, TAV, the special codes there. If you don't know, you may check out in your internet. If you have internet access, you have decodes, and sometimes we have the hard copy of decoded information. But as for airplanes, for example, maybe you're gonna train for other airplane type. The other airplane type may have its own abbreviations. For example, mode control panel on Boeing 737, on the central part of glare shield where you control the autopilot, the flight director system. It's called mode control panel, MCP abbreviation. And for ATR, it is called FGCP. So on every airplane type, you have different abbreviations. And if you open the flight crew operations manual, FCOM, one more abbreviation, you will have the list of the abbreviations in the beginning. So it will be very comfortable for you to study the new aircraft. Then you see the abbreviations at first, and later then you see it in system descriptions. For example, you will understand what are they talking about. Yes, in aviation there are lots of abbreviations, and you don't need to know everything. You have the book, you have your experience knowing the abbreviations that you really need to know. Next, Susanta Malik asks me, and by the way, guys, I may spell your names and surnames in incorrect way, so sorry about it. It's not my fault, and by the way, the English, it's not my native language. What is your favorite aircraft, he asks. Well, my favorite aircraft is the aircraft that I'm currently type rated. I wouldn't say that ATR, the aircraft I was flying before, is my favorite one. I think it has some of the disadvantages that I don't like. For now, I think Boeing 737 has the least disadvantages that the commercial jet aircraft may have, NG version. And I also like Antonov 28. And now I'm speaking of those aircraft that I was flying. Antonov 28 is superb aircraft because it's very light and it has a lot of power. So I like very powerful airplane, and it's so powerful. Then you fly and then you take off. You put the throttle on, the power on. By the time you put the power on the takeoff thrusts, it's already airborne. It's that powerful. I don't know how and why it was designed like this, but that aircraft is fantastic, and also it is fantastic for skydiving. Continue. Ramboda, I hope I spell your name correctly. I just hope. Do you ever plan on flying long haul in the future? Well, I was thinking about this question before, and I don't really think that it's for me, at least for nearby future. I like the airplanes, long-haul airplanes like Airbus 350, Boeing 787, but I wouldn't like to go for all 777s. I wouldn't like to go for Boeing 747, Airbus 380, because I think there's no any perspective for this kind of airplanes. And what I see now is the type rating that I have, and also sorry my friends, I have some kind of allergy this time of the year. And also Airbus A320, they're very perspective. I mean, Boeing 737, Airbus, lots of aircraft like this were in production and now in production. So many of airlines have this airplane type, and if you have this type rating, you will have your job. So the chances that you will have your job are much higher compared to long-haul airplanes. British Airways Boeing 747-436 asks me a question. What an interesting nickname. Well, at least I can spell it correctly. Explain how turbulence is caused. What is the OBIGGS system? How black boxes work? Kind of interesting questions. Explain how turbulence is caused. Well, we may do the separate video about how turbulence caused. Maybe I'll do it with a board. Of course, I'll do it with a board, because I may answer these questions for this whole video. Basically, there are several types of turbulence: mechanic or mountain waves caused by wind blowing to the mountains or some kind of object. Frontal turbulence, convective or thermal turbulence, wake turbulence. So we are going to explain this in separate video, because it's a very large topic and I cannot explain you everything, all the type of the turbulence just right now. Sorry, no time for this thing. I'm very, very sorry. What is the OBIGGS system? I think it's on board integrated inertial gas generator system, I think, as far as I remember. On Boeing 737 we have nitrogen generator system, NGS system. Basically what it does, it separates the oxygen from nitrogen inside the central fuel tank, and then the oxygen part partially removed from the central part, it just vented out, and nitrogen stays there in the fuel tank, and it goes to this nitrogen generator and then supplied back into the central fuel tank, and that is used to prevent the lighting, the fuel vapors just explode inside your central fuel tank. There was the case then, as far as I remember, in Philippines Airlines or something, or in Philippines, it was the explosion of central tank of Boeing 737-400. So, and later on, the FAA introduced the regulations to install this nitrogen system inside the central fuel tank. Why it may happen, why the explosion may happen without this nitrogen system? Because all the, as far as I know, fuel pumps are located in a central part, in a central tank for Boeing 737NG, let's say. And then they operate, then the fuel is very low. There is no any liquid to cool down the pumps, and the fuel is used to cool down the pumps. Then the temperature is rising and some of the fuel vapors still left in fuel tank, it may just explode. So that's what happened to that old Boeing 737 Classic, and that is why we use Boeing nitrogen system in new Boeing 737NG types of airplane. As far as I remember, also on Boeing 737 Classic it was also installed. It has different modes, normal mode, degraded mode. Also you can fly with degraded mode, or it's maybe inoperative. Okay, I hope I answered some of the part of your question. How black boxes work? They record the information about your different flight parameters like airspeed, your altitude, your heading. So this information goes into the special recording box located in the back side of the airplane, because it has the highest chances, the aft part of the airplane has the highest chances to be not destroyed in case of the severe airplane crash. And also there is the cockpit voice recorder that records the crew communication with each other, and there is the special mic in cockpit on the overhead panel that records your communication between two pilots or between three pilots. So everything of that stuff is recorded. How black boxes work? They just record the information. That is how they work. Pam pam. Next, Todd Montgomery. Captain, my question is regarding your channel. Would you consider selling Pilot Blog merchandise? My family is fan of yours and we would be proud to support your channel. Shirts, mugs, stickers, kind of stuff. Thank you very much for watching me, for supporting my channel by your views, by your subscription, by your likes. But I don't need the other support, my friends. I want this channel to be not commercial, at least for now. Then I have my job. So I want my channel, maybe it will be commercial because of two reasons. First, I will lose my job. Okay, so I will use my channel just to survive for me, for my family. Maybe I'll put extra ads for it, because you may see that I don't want to put ads in my channel. I'm not speaking about the Google ads, I'm speaking about the different site ads. As you might see in different bloggers, that they have some advertisement, sponsorship from different companies. I'm planning not to have this stuff. And also I'm not planning to sell other like merchandise or something, at least for now. So the first reason, if I lose my job, okay, I'll do it. And the second reason, maybe if I'll have some kind of very interesting project, and just not to take the money from my family, I would work with some kind of sponsors, or maybe I'll sell merchandise just to invest into something really big to appear on my channel. So two reasons: lost my job or something really big. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't have ideas for now, but maybe we'll do this stuff just a little bit later. Two reasons. I say to you, just two reasons. Next, RD4590, nice nickname, asks me, what are the differences between different models of the same type of the aircraft? Say Boeing 737-800 and Boeing 737-900. Do you need extra training to fly another Boeing 737 model? Well, there's basically no difference between 737-800 and 900. You don't need to have the special difference course for that. 900 just a little bit longer, has the lower clearance, tail strike clearance limit. For example, for 800 your tail strike angle during the takeoff is 11 degrees. For 900 it's 10 degrees. So you need to know all of this stuff, which is in flight crew training manual or in FCTM flight crew training manual, or in FCOM flight crew operation manual. Do you need extra training? Well, if you go from Boeing 737 Classic to Boeing 737 NG, and NG we have from Boeing 737-600 until Boeing 737-900, it's the same type. You need to go through the difference training, and it's not, as far as I remember, it's not more than 7 sessions or 5 sessions on simulator. I don't remember, my friends. I need to go to and check my papers. Well, you need to go through the simulator training. Maybe they will do the same for Boeing 737 MAX, and what I heard that they renamed this brand MAX. It's no longer Boeing 737 MAX, but it's Boeing 737-8 and -9, depends on configuration and fuselage size. So maybe we should go through the simulator training again to fly the Boeing 737 MAX version. And not only through the simulator training, but you also need to go through the different course, which includes ground training and of course simulator training. Check ride is not, as far as I remember, is not required. Xain Ui Abidin. Sorry if I spell your name not correctly. Are you married? How many children do you have? How many flying hours do you have? Children? How many children? How many flight hours? Thank you for your question. Are you married? Yes. And my wife is also a pilot, and I will tell you maybe later in the future questions more detailed information about it. How many children do you have? We have one child, the girl. She is 7 years old. How many flying hours do you have? More than 6,500 hours. All right, next question. Andres Jordan. I think I spelled your name correctly, Andres. Hi, what was your longest ever flight in a Boeing 737? Hope you have a great day. Take care. Thank you for your question, for your wishes. Well, the longest flight on Boeing 737 is very easy to remember. 7 hours and 37 minutes. 737. Yes, it's true. So it was a flight from Kiberispol to Almaty in Kazakhstan. But the longest flight for me was on ATR, and it was the ferry flight to deliver the new airplane to Ukraine. We were flying from Toulouse. It is the city on the south of France where the Airbus is built up, and also the ATR. So we were flying to the north to reach the UK through the channel, and then we went to Ukraine. So it took us 7 hours and 47. I need to check my logbook. 7 hours and 40 with something minutes. So it was really long flight as for ATR, but it can be in the air for longer, because the fuel consumption on ATR is very low. On a cruise flight, on a ferry airplane, we had less than 600 kilos per hour on both engines. Very low. Pavel Klat asks me, or writes to me, "Hello, I like your videos, keep it going." Yes, they will go in the same way, or maybe more frequently upload more frequently. We'll see. Question: would you switch to Airbus 320 if you would have a chance? I think Airbus has more perspectives compared to Boeing 737. We are speaking about this kind of airplane types. The single aisle, mostly regional airplanes like Boeing 737 and Airbus 320. I think 320 has more perspectives because we already see the Airbus Neo, new engine option. we don't see Boeing 737 MAX, unfortunately, because of these problems that cause to of the crashes. It's not the 100%, by the way, it is not 100% Boeing's failure. There was also the pilot failure. And if you read the outcome incidents, the final report of the accidents, you'll see that pilots also did crucial mistakes that led to this accident. And that is why I think Airbus has more perspectives compared to the Boeing in this area. If we speak about the long-haul airplanes, I think Boeing has more perspectives with Boeing 777X. I think it's just my own opinion. I would like to try the Airbus. I like its cockpit. I like also the side stick. I like it. I know that many Boeing pilots don't like these side sticks, but I do like. I tried to fly the Airbus on real full flight simulator, and I like the indication. It's very friendly made for a pilot. You have very big cockpit. It's very comfortable. So I may try it. I would like to try it, and I think I will like it, my friends. Whether I'd like it more than Boeing 737, I don't know. For now, I'm very grateful to my airline that they trained me. They gave me the type rating of Boeing 737. That is also superb airplane, the Boeing 737NG. It is superb, and I like it. But I think Airbus 320 is just a little bit more friendly to the pilot. I think so. Bramer Filovskis asks me, have you ever flown to Ljubljana Airport? No, I haven't been there, but I know some of our crew members were based there. It was the wet lease, the local airline Blue Panorama or something. They leased our airplanes with the crew to fly for them. Charter flights mostly. It was a long time ago, but no, I wasn't there. Olga D asks me, what are different classes of airspace? Which type do you prefer to fly in and why? Well, I don't really care flying commercial airplane. You always have the permission to fly in every airspace. You have your flight plan, and you don't need to pass it by yourself. You have the special, staff who do it for you. So we're not going deep into this airspace classification. You just fly. I know that the B airspace near to Team A area, near to airports, it may be crowded, so it may be limited for general aviation, but not for us. We have the flight plan, so we arrive. We don't care about this airspace classification, really here in Europe. For sure. Okay, Scaf Studios asks me, not sure if you're talking about it, but how did you get into wanting to learn how to be a pilot? As a child, up until you got a private pilot license, did you always want to pilot growing up? Sorry, maybe it's written in bad English, or maybe I read in my bad English. Basically, a short history of yourself, he asks me. Scaf Studios. Okay, thank you for your question. I have the video, My Way to Become a Pilot. It's one of the first videos, and there you can check everything. Basically, I started my flight simulator. This was my first familiarization with aviation. Also, my house was very close to the airport. My mother was flight attendant. My father was maintenance engineer, and I just wanted to be a pilot a long time ago. But I thought it's not possible with my financial state. I thought it's very, very, very expensive. I thought it's thousands of dollars or something. Hundreds of thousands of dollars you need to become a pilot. But later on, I went to the government-supported training academy, State Flight Academy, and I started to fly gliders. I started to fly the small airplanes, then big Antonov airplanes, and that is how I became a pilot. For more detailed information, go to and check my video, My Way to Become a Pilot. Okay, next, Sagar Buel. Sorry, my friend. I'm sure that I pronounced your name in a very bad way. Sorry. If oxygen masks are used once, so same mask is kept for the next use, or it replaced in, or it's cleaned, or what they do it. Okay. If we speak about the real airplane, if you use your oxygen mask, of course, you need to write it in IFML, and then the ground staff will go to your airplane, the maintenance staff, and they will clean and put everything back. If you have the training session on flight simulator and you had the rapid decompression exercise, you have to descend, you put your oxygen mask on. Again, after the session, you call to maintenance for the simulator maintenance, and they go and clean with antiseptic the oxygen mask, and that's all. Second question of yours. There are many non-tower airports in the world, so how do pilots operate in that type of airport? I flew in Indonesia, and we flew to many of this type of airports, no tower, nothing, and we use HF station to fly between two airports, and then you come closer, you make contact with using VHF station. Usually the tower may be located in other place, but I think in 90% of all the flights the tower is there. Still you need someone there in the airport, or maybe the witnesses that ensures you that the runway is clear. They need to call you and say the runway is clear. They may not clear you to land, but they need to provide you with that information that there is nothing on the runway, no vehicles, no people, nothing. I'm not sure about the Africa, but in Indonesia it's like this. Pam pam. A question from Emilian Poppa. Hello, Captain. Usually the first sector is flown by the first officer and the flyback to home base by the captain, as far as I know. Not really. It may be different. My question is it possible for the captain to get bored on landing always at the same airport? Yeah, sometimes you get bored landing at the same airport, but you also need to be concentrated on your landing, no matter of weather conditions, no matter of your whether you're bored or not. You need to be concentrated. Otherwise, something may happen rapidly, and you will not be able to keep this thing in a safe way to go and land your airplane in a safe manner. I was a little bit bored flying ATR 72 in Ukraine, in UTAIR Ukraine, my first airline, and I was flying to Donetsk, mostly from Kiev to Donetsk, and it was a big wide runway equipped with ILS system, so nothing special there, so you just land. But nevertheless, my friends, don't be bored. I mean, don't take it in an easy way. Always concentrate on your approach, landing, basically on your flight, because it's very crucial, because you are not alone. It's not your private airplane. You carry passengers. Lots of responsibility here. Stefano Caletta asks me, hello, not sure if you spoke about it, but I would like to know, what do you learn during your PPL training, theory, practice, etc. Thanks. Thank you for a question, Stefano. You may check my video, My Way to Become a Pilot. And basically, I was technician in local air club near to the Kiev, and they provided me with flight hours. That is how I got my private pilot license. And yes, you need to go through a ground training and through your practice. Practice is usually around 50 hours. It depends on your state regulations and air school regulations. Next question. Chris Krook Vlogs, sorry. Can you talk to us about pilot mental health? What conditions and things people can have on their medical histories and they can still be pilots, like having depression, etc. Can you still be an airline pilot, and what medications pilots are allowed to take? Maybe explain an ILS approach chart. For ILS approach chart, it may be in different video, but for mental health, it depends on your local regulations, on your medical regulations in your particular country. We know the story with the German wings that happened to the first officer, that he locked himself in the cockpit and crashed the airplane. So he was struggling because of the depression, some kind of the problems he had. So personally, I haven't experienced this kind of state. Everything was smooth for me, but I know there are maybe many personal cases, and of course, as professional pilot, you need to go and check your mental health with your doctor. As far as I know, then you're applying for your medical certificate, you have to pass to the special psychiatrist who will check your mental health. And some airlines will do it on a regular basis. But for ICAO standard, we now don't have any special tests. As far as I know, it's not provided. Maybe in some countries it is provided, but here we don't have the special tests to check the mental health of the pilot. I think in future there will be. For now, only then you initially apply for your medical certificate, you will have those tests. And I had this kind of test. Then I was applying for my current airline. So it was the psychological interview. And also if you apply to, for example, Emirates, to big airlines, they have very interesting psychological interview. Similar I have here in Ukraine. So airline will check my mental health. So I have to pass some of the special tasks. Then they talk to me in a very personal way, ask the personal questions, and they will see my reaction. So that is how airlines put their own borders to, not the borders, but their own procedures to check the pilot's mental health. And if someone will see that something is wrong with you, your colleague, your first officer or captain, he or she may report to psychiatrists, to company psychiatrists, and maybe you'll be rechecked again. I don't know, maybe it's like this, but here we have just airline requirements for that stuff. And I'm very happy that we have that requirement in my airline, that our pilots go to this check, then they apply, then they go to our airlines, the mental health, the pilot's mental health is checked here. The next question from Shovik Ghosh. I hope I spelled it again correctly. Sorry, my friend. Sorry. Many mistakes here spelling your names. Hello, Captain. Please make a video on your actual monthly roster with a bit of details of wines and bites, etc. Because of this crisis, we don't have the monthly roster. Everything is changing. The next week we'll have more flights. The next week, in 2 weeks, we'll have less flights. So I don't have the monthly roster. I have my flights maybe in 3 days. So I have my flight, I fly it, then I wait maybe for 1 week, maybe for more. And then I have the flight again in my roster. So I don't see anything in the future. That's why I'm not able to show it to you. And maybe it's also internal documents. That's why I'm not approved to show it to you by my airline. Maybe, I don't know. It's better not to risk in this case. Next question from Yusuf Jabo. Hi, thanks for your content and thanks. Okay, first question. I have many questions. What makes the best pilot in the world? What makes the best pilot in the world? I think the attitude to your job. You need to have the good attitude to your airplane knowledges, I mean in general aviation knowledges, and also you need to have good attitude, good CRM with your colleagues. That's what makes the best pilot in the world. Two things, theory, knowledges, and CRM. And maybe third thing is experience. So if you experience, if you have good attitude to everything, you're probably the best pilot. Second question, do pilots know the value of amount of forces at the time during the flight, or they just fly the aircraft? Well, we have the value only for, in a flight management computer, we may check the value for your thrust. It's in kilonewtons. So you have your thrust, you have your different ratings, and you may choose your force that propels the aircraft into the sky. So you may derate it, you may reduce it, you can operate with it. Also, you can calculate your force from the aircraft mass, but we don't do it. We don't know or we may also calculate the lift force, but we don't need it. The drag force, we also don't need it. I mean the exact numbers. We need it, of course, but the exact numbers we have just for the thrust and flight management computer. And you just fly the airplane, but you need to have the idea. So if you add the thrust, you have the propeller, you have more thrust, and you have the extra airspeed. Extra airspeed means higher lift force, means extra drag as well. So you need to understand these evaluations of the airplane. Okay, third question. What do you think in the future of aviation? Do you think in the future of aviation? We'll fly, so people will fly, and many people, the planning is growing, the population of the people is growing on our planet, so they need to interconnect, to communicate, and the aviation is the liver of the globalism. So our world becomes more global and will fly. So the future of aviation is will fly. On what airplanes, I don't really know. Maybe they will improve, they will go to electric part or hydrogen fuel. I don't know what's going to be in future. The last question, too many questions. What would you like to see improve in aviation world? Thanks and love you. Oh, the same. I love you. Thank you for your watching, for your attention to my channel. Would you like to see improve in the aviation world? I think it's a big topic. It needs to have the separate video. I see the big problem for pilot training because many pilots cannot afford the training. Many young people cannot afford the training. That is what I see. So if you have money, you may easily become a pilot. If you don't have the money and you're eager, you want to become a pilot, still it's impossible for you without the money. A question from Hugo Chan. Will you land during the 30 plus knots crosswind, 50 plus knots gusting, wind shear alert and severe turbulence during approach? Nice mixture. I'm interested in this topic because of the video. It is a recording showing the dozens of airplanes try to land but none succeed in this video, and he put the link of this video. Thank you for your question. Well, we have the limits. So the crosswind limit is 33 knots, and the tailwind limit depends on the airplane type. For Boeing 737, it may be 10 knots tailwind or 15 knots tailwind. If you exceed these limits, and also depends on runway conditions, whether it's wet. If it is wet, the crosswind limit reduces to 25 knots, for example. So it depends on what conditions of the runway, many other factors. And if you have wind shear alert and severe turbulence, 100% go around. So if you have wind shear alert, wind shear, and it tells you go around, wind shear, you need good wind shear ahead. You need to go around, and that's all. You need to perform the go-around maneuver and try to find the other runway for landing with better conditions. That's all I know. Pam pam. Vladimir Filovsky, have you ever flown the UR Gulf Alpha Sierra registration Boeing 737-500? It was leased by Adria Airways from Ukraine International. Yes, we get rid of the old version of Boeing 737 Classic, and probably yes, I was flying this airplane as well. Yes, UR Gulf Alpha Sierra, Gulf Alpha Tango, and many more classic airplanes, Boeing 737 Classic. And I would say I love classic airplanes, but I like NG a little bit more. A question from VK, yeah, literally Victor Kilo, nice nickname. airplane you would love to fly except Boeing 737? Many airplanes, my friend. Many. I would like to fly so many, to try to fly so many airplanes. Well, I would like to fly the fastest commercial airplanes like Concorde or Tupolev 144. Also, Tupolev 154. I think it's a very beautiful airplane, even though it's quite unsafe. If you go to super stall, you cannot do anything. Your engines will stall and your airplane will go to the deep stall and it will crash. Many of the accidents happen with that airplane because of that. And also I'd like to try the Antonov 22, the biggest turboprop in the world. And also I like Mriya 225, the biggest airplane in the world. And if you didn't know, I went to Gostomel and I filmed the video about Antonov 225 Mriya. You may check it out, the walk around and inside the internal check of Antonov 225. It's massive. I would like to fly Douglas DC-3. I would like to fly Boeing 747. From the modern commercial airplanes, I think Airbus 350 and Boeing 777X. I think it's a beautiful airplane. That is what I would like to fly. And also small airplanes, big airplanes. Every pilot wants to try something. Well, from long-haul airplanes, I like Airbus 350. The subscriber's nickname is Bother. What is your biggest goal in aviation? My biggest goal is to become a professional pilot. You may say that I am a professional pilot right now. I am captain on Boeing 737NG, have many hours, but we are not the birds. We are not born to fly. We humans and the aviation is not it's not very long here in our lives, just a little bit more than 100 years, and that is why we need to constantly study, constantly improve ourselves to become commercial professional pilots. You may be commercial pilot, but you never reach this highest professional level. Every commercial pilot may do mistakes, but we study those mistakes, we improve ourselves, and that is my goal, to fly, to become as much professional as possible. And I will never reach this professionalism goal that I put on myself. Then you put your goal, the unachievable goal, you will try harder to reach it, as far as I think. My goal is to be 100% professional, 100% know everything. But as human being, I know that I will never reach this goal. Hi, my name is Juf. After the Air India crash, I started wondering, the military aircraft can land on short runways because of the rubber bands attached on a ship. Why can't commercial airplanes follow the same method? And they can adjust the system. Okay, about this hook and rubber bands. Rubber bands, if they are too heavy, the airport can attach 2-3 of them, which will help to stop the aircraft. You will have huge deceleration force. It's absolutely huge. They use these bands on air carriers on the sea that they have a very short runways. There is no any possible mean that you can land this airplane in this short field without those bands and with your hook. So it's the only way to stop the airplane. In commercial aviation, the runways are quite long, so you need to calculate your landing distance and you need to decelerate your airplane using the engines, your brakes, and that is enough force to stop the airplane. If you have tailwind, if you overflown some part of the runway, go around, try again. If you have some weather problems with it, you need to choose the Ternate airport. First, it's very expensive, will be very expensive. The reason why they are not applied in commercial aviation. The second reason is because it's massive. Then you got this band in your hook. There's massive deceleration force, and it's not comfortable for passengers, and maybe even it can lead to some of the injuries of your passengers and the crew. All right, I'll take the last question for today, and it's from Krashi Hika. He asks me, or she asks me, what do you think of Istanbul Airport? I was flying to Sabiha Airport, I was flying to Atatürk, I was flying to new big Istanbul Airport, and I think the new one is absolutely fantastic. I think it's one of the biggest airports around in the world, and wide taxiways, many of the runways, very huge aprons. I think the biggest aprons ever I saw ever. But what I don't like, just a little bit, one thing I don't like is the taxi time can easily exceed up to half an hour or maybe more. I hope in future they will redesign the taxi routes. I think they are going to redesign it to make it more efficient. Well, guys, I think it's over for today. Put your question like the other questions from other users. You're all my friends. Thank you for asking the questions. I'm very happy to answer to all of you. By the way, my English is not very good, so don't pay attention on that, but I hope you'll get the meaning of what I answered to you. For now, you are awesome guy. I know you are awesome guy. That is why, as usual, you may follow the awesome guy checklist. It's very simple to do, simple thing to do. First, you need to like this video, then subscribe to my channel, then ring the bell, whatever it means. Thank you very much for watching this video and have a great time. Pam pam.